I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. I'm Flo.
And I'm Gabe.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah. It's going to be so confusing for everyone who's listening to this for the first time.
It's fun. I always wanted to be you.
Yeah. I wish I could say the same. I
All
do.
right.
I did. I always wanted to
Burn
be me.
the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude, if you do the intro, I'm going to let you host this whole thing. I'll just follow along.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're new to the show, as you now know, I'm Flo, and we have started this podcast to talk about the best thing that we've seen all week, any kind of visual medium that came out in the last 6 months. And yeah, we're going to discuss it on this show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's difficult if no one's overtaking it, right?
Yeah. All right.
You're not even going to ask me how I'm doing, and then I'm just going to say, I'm tired, and
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
it's like
How are you?
It's like an April Fool's episode. Just switching
Yeah,
the whole thing around.
2 months late.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
We're always on topic.
No. We will release this episode in 10 months.
Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
Gotta have a backup. All right. Yeah, man. How are you? How's your week?
I'm good. I'm tired. My kitchen looks like shit.
Just so you know, my
what
kitchen looks
else?
pretty good this time.
It does. I wish I could.
Pretty all right. Yeah.
This is the most confusing episode. Yeah. No. I'm good, man. How you doing, Flo? How's it going?
I'm great. I'm also kind of tired.
Yeah. You
My
excited
kitchen
for this
looks
new
all right.
for this new episode?
Always.
Yeah.
It's getting tougher and tougher to find cool things to talk about, but luckily I found something.
It's difficult because when we started this podcast, then obviously this was before the whole shutdown and stuff. So we were thinking we watch at least one new film in the cinema a week, and that was going to be the one that we could talk about in weeks where we don't see anything else, if that makes sense. That could always be the backup. And then obviously 5 episodes in, we weren't able to do that anymore. So
Yeah.
we've been struggling a bit over the last couple of weeks to find something to talk about, but we've always managed to find something. And I'm sure I can only speak for myself, but I found something again this week that fills that, or that that fulfills those criteria, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's not horrible, is what I'm trying to
I
say.
find something interesting that I would love to talk about, and I made some minimal preparation for the next couple of weeks and just looked up what's going to come out, what's going to be cool.
Yeah.
And there's some cool stuff coming out.
Yeah, next week
couple of weeks that I want to talk about.
I'm excited about something that's going to drop next week as well.
Yeah. A new joint.
It's going to be a new joint, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's going to come out on Friday, I think, and it's going to be tricky for me to watch that in time. But
yeah, on the same day, a new season of a cool TV show is going to come out.
Right.
So yeah,
I'm gonna reckon it's an animated show.
It is. It is.
I think. Yeah. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be. I think that the problem with the new Spike Lee film is it's also going to be a long film. So I don't know. As I said, I'm hoping that we'll both be able to watch it in time to get to talk about it next week. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. But yeah, worst comes to worst, I guess we can talk about the week after if there's no time.
Sure. Yeah, let's just jump off of that because let's talk a little bit about Space Force because that's not going to be my pick, and
All right.
I assume it's not going to be yours either.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
And yeah,
I mean, have you finished it by
I
now?
haven't even finished it. No.
All right.
I watched 5. I think I'm halfway through the 6th episode. But
All right.
we talked about it last week that I'd only seen the first 20 minutes or so of the first episode, and let's just talk about it now because obviously we're not gonna talk about it later. What did you think of it? Have you finished it?
I finished it by now, and it's all right. I just hated the ending, not because it's bad, but just because it's kind of builds up the next season.
Of course.
I know it's gonna be another year, and they kind of leave it on kind of a high note. And I don't know.
It's the usual Gabe problem that he
Yeah.
doesn't like endings where it suggests another season might come.
Yeah, if you're new, yeah, I am Gabe. Just so you know, it was a bit.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
But yeah, it's a good show, but it's not so good that I'm gonna be so excited. So, oh my god, how exciting is this ending? I'm gonna see the new season the day it comes out. I'm gonna probably see it just because I don't have anything better to do in my life. But
it's too real, man. It's too real.
Yeah.
it's too real. No, because you're going to have to watch it for the podcast. That's the reason. You can go with that.
Also, that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's for work.
Pick that. Yeah. But what was your favorite episode? Is it one of the first 5 maybe? Hopefully.
What a question. What happened in what episode?
That's a good question. But maybe you remembered one thing and that happened to be one of the first 5. Because I like the show. Right?
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
It's fun. But,
sure.
I'm not the most, I don't binge watch anything, and I just didn't really have the urge of finishing this season, or the first season in like the first few days. I'm just sort of watching one episode every other day, but I'm enjoying them. But it's not like,
it's not the new Office.
Definitely not that, and it's not, it's just not the best thing I've seen all week, basically. It's fun, light entertainment, and I love Steve Carell, and I think it's funny at times as well. It's just a bit like, I don't quite know what the show wants me to, or wants to convey, because it's obviously, it's the ridiculousness of this whole thing even existing, right? The Space Force, but then you're sort of rooting for them to win. But if they win, that would sort of imply that having that in real life would be a good thing.
Well, it makes the whole world seem more ridiculous. Like, this is actually a thing that is needed, and the technology that is presented in the show is, I'm very, very sure, not real.
You don't think so? You don't think that a monkey and a dog would be able to reattach? What was that?
That might be my favorite episode.
Yeah? That's like the second one, I think, or third one.
Yeah, second or third, yeah.
I thought you would have hated that episode, to be honest, because you mentioned that every episode gets better. And so I was like I thought the first 2 the first couple you weren't a big fan of. I thought it was an interesting episode. It was fine. I thought it was a bit ridiculous, a bit too ridiculous at times.
Yeah, but I guess that is the show, isn't it? Being too ridiculous to be true.
Sure. I like the, I think the last one I saw was the space war thing, where they like fought each other with BB guns. Was it BB guns?
Yeah.
And then Malkovich comes in to sort of saves the day. But also
must break like 1,000 rules.
That Malkovich is a good guy?
No, that Malkovich just comes in and does what he does in that episode. Like,
you know what I love?
What are the rules? Yeah.
Little spoiler about the 5th episode. He just like at the end of he watches the whole thing unfold on the big screen, and then he decides to like drive into the battlefield and then just call the guys who sit in front of the big screen and just tell them, all right, now do it. Why would he not? Why did he need to?
To be cool, to make Steve Carell like him.
Yeah, but why did he need to drive over there? Why couldn't he just activate those things?
Yo, Steve Carell, I'm here for you.
Yo, Mark.
What up? Yeah.
Yo, Steve Carell. How's it going, man?
I also didn't notice that because, like I said, it's a bit of a spoiler, but he kind of blocks the suits of the enemy team so they can't move their legs. And then he just walks up and pops all their balloons. But why? They can't move their legs. It doesn't mean they can't shoot back or can defend themselves.
I think it's the whole. I think he deactivated the whole suit because they had troubles like controlling their arms as well.
But wasn't it just for the legs? The
I think that was
kind of
just
walk them back to base in case they die.
I think that was for the Space Force team.
All right.
I think that Malkovich saw a flaw in obviously because he decided between the 2 types of suits, and I think he saw a flaw in the ones that the other team had, and he thought he might be able to manipulate that whole suit rather than just the legs. That's how I sort of justify what happened. But I wondered the same. I was wondering the same thing. Yeah, and someone I really like in the show is the daughter, Steve Carell's daughter. And she was in
Booksmart.
She was in Booksmart, yeah.
Yeah.
The first episode, I was like, I know that face. And then, of course, I think I actually, I was quite proud of myself because I was able to come up with where I knew her from without even looking it up. But I think she's great. I'm excited to see what else she's going to do.
Talking about
here comes the butt.
She starts off in a relationship with like the Russian guy who seems to be obviously a spy.
Yeah.
It's like the whole joke about this character. He's so obviously a spy, and they just tolerate him around the base.
Yeah, he uses the daughter to get information about this.
Yeah, and just walks up to her and says, "Hi, how are you? What's your mother's maiden name?"
I thought that was quite funny, though, where she works at that ice cream or frozen everything.
It is funny, but that guy just pretty much never kind of comes up in the kind of last 5 episodes. They completely forgot about the character.
Well, she sort of, gets rid of him.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he has to stop spying, does he?
He's the villain in season 2.
Maybe. Again, the villain is kind of the Chinese, which is...
Well, sure.
Well, it's a first in a long time in Hollywood, I guess. I thought it was kind of forbidden to talk about the Chinese.
Well, especially now, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited excited. I will finish the show, and I've enjoyed every episode so far. But it's just, I was kind of hoping for it to be a bit better than it is. But it's good. It's good. I enjoyed it.
It won't blow you away, but
yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
Could be so many jokes made there with some rocket jokes. I'm not gonna do it. And one other thing that I forgot to talk about last week was that a show that I recommended a couple of weeks ago finished, which is Defending Jacob. And don't worry, I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything, but they released those episodes like weekly. So they released the first 3, and then they released it 1 week, 1 episode per week. And I really love that show, and that ending, I don't know if anyone who's listening to this sort of started watching it as well. The ending was kind of a disappointment as well. So I forgot to talk about that last time, and I think that sort of says a lot, because I watched the last episode like just a couple of days before we started recording the last episode, and I had already forgotten about it, which sort of speaks volumes to the ending.
Was it like just an anticlimactic ending, or just not what you expected?
It was, they cram a lot of stuff in the last episode. It sort of, it felt a bit rushed. And it's just, you don't, I don't want to give away too much, but certain things are left unsaid or unresolved.
All right. Well,
and that's just all.
Season 2 is 4, right?
Right. I was just going to say, I really, really doubt there will be another season of this. I genuinely, it's just the way, maybe I'm wrong. I just, first of all, think that Chris Evans is not going to commit to a multiple season show. I just don't think he's the type to, if it's successful now, maybe they're going to pick it up. But from what I understand, it's based on a book. So I should have looked this up, but I don't know if they told the whole story of the book, or if there's a second book that they're going to turn into the second series. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
But I really like the show, and I would still recommend it, because it's really, really great at times, and the acting is. I'm not a huge fan of the Michelle Dockery, I think her name is.
Who's that?
The mother of the wife of Chris Evans, and the mother of Jaden Martell. Yeah, of Jacob. Have you seen it?
I'm an expert already.
Yeah. Her acting is a bit, hit and miss for me. But Chris Evans is great. And, also the boy is great. And, I'm rambling now, but, I was kind of it's fine. It is fine, but it takes some.
It's always a bad thing to say about a show. It's fine.
Well, I'm just talking about the last episode, which obviously sort of, is a very important episode. Sort of, is important for the overall rating of the show. But
yep. But I think sometimes just when you say a show is fine at the end, you just forget it, and you're just maybe more disappointed than if they done something more ballsy and
Sure.
maybe worse. For example, everybody just hated Game of Thrones.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
And I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did, but it was fine. And now, kind of just talking about Game of Thrones leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth. Just
right, but because you loved that show.
Yeah, I loved it so much, and then I don't know. It's fine. I get what they did, but I don't know. Now every time I kind of think about a show, I try to watch it again or see a clip of it. I just have this feeling of all right, it's fine.
Yeah,
I know it's gonna end. It's gonna be
yeah. Right, you always then know what's going to happen, and then obviously. Yeah, lessens the experience, yeah. If you know that the ending is not satisfying.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. I think it's not as bad as everybody says it is, but
yeah.
It's not great.
One of my favorite things about Defending Jacob was there was like midway through the show, there's like an actor revealed who plays an important part.
All right.
Don't worry, it's not the killer. It's genuinely just an important character for the show. And I'm not maybe you would. I don't know if you're interested in the show, so I'm not gonna say who it is. But there was like a shot of him like at the end of one of the episodes, and I was like the first shot because it's like revealed like very very slowly. Where you just see the back of his head, and then sort of the last shot of the episode is sort of the reveal of the actor. And I was like when I saw the back of his head, I was like, is that this guy? And I was like, what? There's no way, like no way that he would show up for like 4 episodes of this, right? Like, it is him.
Is it a spoiler that it is him?
No, it's just, it was a nice moment to he does promo for it now. If you look, yeah. Do you want me to say it?
I'd love to know, yeah.
Yeah, it's J.K. Simmons.
Oh, right.
Yeah. He plays Chris Evans' father. And I was like, I love how they really like epically revealed that it's J.K. Simmons. And nothing against J.K. Simmons, but it's like, it's not Tom Hanks.
Well, J.K. Simmons become this kind of pop culture icon.
No, I love him.
He just pops up everywhere. Everybody loves him.
But I would take a guess and say that most of our listeners, this is not like a judgment. I would say that they need to look up who J.K. Simmons is. And once they see it, they know it, right?
Yeah. J.K. Simmons, if you don't know, is the guy from Spider-Man who runs the paper with the mustache, who's really eccentric.
Yeah. J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
Something like that.
3 J's, yeah. Or from Whiplash, or from, I don't know, so many things.
Yeah, his career is sort of taken off over the last, well, maybe not taken off, but
He's one of those big supporting characters.
Yes.
He's in so many films and always, or most times, plays supporting characters. And if you've seen him, you would instantly recognize him.
Yeah, he's got a great voice as well.
Yeah.
Very recognizable voice.
He does a lot of voice work also like for cartoons.
Zootopia,
for Gravity Falls.
Was he in Zootopia?
And Zootopia, yeah.
It's what was I going to say? Shit. Yes, because one of his most famous roles, or maybe not the most famous, but he starred in a prison show called Oz. And I think
prison show?
Yes. I think that was sort of the reason why they sort of revealed him in an epic way, because in the show, Defending Jacob, his character is also in prison. So I feel like that was sort of maybe a little bit of a, not an Easter egg, but like a reference. An homage, right? And that's why they revealed him and sort of like, it's J.K. Simmons and he's back in prison again.
Yes. Finally.
I'm so excited. But yeah, I haven't seen Oz, but I know that he plays I've heard him talk about it as well now with Defending Jacob. He plays very, very different characters in both of these shows. But it's just, it's supposed to be a great, great show, Oz. I can't talk about it more, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to mention Defending Jacob. I would still recommend this show, but just know that the last episode isn't as good as the previous 7 episodes, suggested maybe.
All right. Well,
yeah, it's a ringing endorsement. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the best thing we've seen.
Yeah, let's get into the main part of the show.
Yeah.
So it's my turn this time.
Yes. It's going to be interesting because we might have the same thing.
I think so.
For the first time ever.
Yeah, would be great.
Would be interesting.
All right, let's make it interesting. My thing is an Amazon Prime thing. What is yours?
My thing is an Amazon Prime thing, yeah.
My thing is a horror thing.
I genuinely don't know if I would classify this as a horror film.
I think the mainstream population would say it's horror. It's sci-fi.
It is sci-fi.
I'm
now thinking it's the same thing, but how is that horror? Nothing.
Well, it kind of starts more of as a horror film, and it is an homage and this old horror. All right, let's just talk
what
about
a moment!
Thing, right?
The first time ever, because we haven't talked about this before. We didn't know that yet.
The best thing that I've seen is The Vast of Night.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me.
All right, we did it. It only took us 18 episodes.
See you next week.
Yeah. This is the show. Thank you for listening.
Look it up. Google it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, The Vast of Night, if you don't know what The Vast of Night is, it's kind of an old school episode of The Twilight Zone, which kind of has always kind of some weird stories. And it actually starts with like a 50s TV in black and white.
Yes, it's very X-Files-y and stuff.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the opening is pretty much the exact same as in Twilight Zone, just a bit different, and they call it a different thing. So on this episode of blah blah blah, I forgot what they called this movie, and then they kind of zoom into the TV closer and closer, and then it becomes color and more like a modern film. And the cool thing is, which you definitely noticed as well, is just when they're in the show, they have very few cuts. There are a lot of long takes, which make it seem more like you're actually in there, which I thought was just great.
Well, that was. This is a very, very small budget production, and it's also a feature debut, I think, from the director called Andrew Patterson.
Yeah,
and I've heard people talk about this. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I watched the review that Chris Stuckman did.
All right,
and he talked about this as well. And it's just those long takes are obviously meant to sort of build tension, and as you said, it makes us feel like we're in the room when it happens.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, the main reason why they did it, or maybe not the main reason, but a big reason is also for budgetary reasons, because they can't set up multiple cameras. They can't cut in between the actors. They have to sort of like, here's a camera, hoping that the actors are going to be able to do it in one take. And then, I mean, the actors are great. Some of the shots are incredible. Those tracking shots.
Yeah, when I noticed that it was one long take when they kind of walk out of the gym.
Basketball. Yeah.
At first I didn't notice, but then when you notice, you can't stop noticing it, and it becomes even more impressive because they have a very long conversation just to kind of hit all your cues and say the right thing at the right time. Must be very hard.
Yeah, I think it's in general, there's like every scene feels like a long take almost.
Yeah, except for when they interview the old lady, there are a couple cuts there, and
sure, but there's also a longer take of her just telling her story.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I really liked is the scene where, because
let's talk about what it's about.
Yeah, it's set in the 1950s, the late 1950s, and it's during one night, the Vast of Night, and it'll kind of tell you that it's going to be set during one long night, kind of, and it's about a boy and a girl who go to school, and he's kind of a radio host.
How old do you think they are?
In the show? Well, she says that she is 16 in the show.
Okay.
She mentions it when the old lady asks her. And I guess he's like same age, maybe 1 or 2 years older. I guess he's like a senior in high school.
Yeah, might be.
And while everybody's like at the basketball game that everybody's watching in this town, she has to go to her job, which is like a telephone operator. Because back in the old days, when you called somebody, you didn't just dial the number, you picked up the receiver, then you get connected to a switchboard operator and just, hello, what up?
Yeah, those were the exact words in the 50s.
They were pretty cool back then. And who should I connect you to? And then I connect you to this person. And what I thought was really cool, because there's this very long shot, which is like almost 10 minutes long, I think, where she just sits in this switchboard room and connects people. and kind of hears strange noises, which are kind of the mystery that's being solved over the course of this film. Where do these noises come from?
Yeah.
And this scene reminded me so much of The Guilty.
Fair enough. Absolutely fair point. It reminded me so much of All the President's Men.
I haven't seen that one.
Where Robert Redford is like on a phone call with a couple of different people as well, and it's a long take. And at the end, I believe he even messes up some of the names, which was like an ad-lib, or not an ad-lib, but a mistake, a genuine mistake that they kept in the film. But that was sort of all of those, The Guilty as well. I was like, that's incredibly impressive. I don't know, like, how in the world they would keep track of who they're talking to, because I would assume that someone off screen sort of like, helps them with that, like maybe says the lines that the people on the phone would say to them,
But I think I don't know if they do that. I guess sometimes, but it might just make it harder, because then the audio kind of picks up the voices over the phone and might not sound as good, so they just voice it over later, which makes it easier.
Right. Well, they could have an
Stuff
earpiece
like
in, but
I guess, yeah.
Maybe, sure. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But The Guilty is
yeah.
Sure.
But yeah.
And that is,
Well,
just this. But then we've got to talk about what it is about. Then you want to.
The interesting thing is kind of figuring out what's going. Well, you kind of figure it very early on, I think. Just the first phone call, which the cryptic phone call that she gets, pretty much gives it away right away.
Sure. Well, we can talk.
Because
we can.
Says one
we can
thing,
say it,
which well, it's in the 1950s, and if you say that thing, and it's kind of based on a Twilight episode.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone episodes.
Not the vampire one. Yeah.
It's a tough thing to say. All right.
Yeah, but they pick up a frequency, like a weird frequency, over the phone lines.
Yeah.
And
she connects it to the guy who's doing his radio show that night, and
Right.
he's like, "All right, who can tell us what this sound is? Help us!" And then I get a call, and then the mystery gets tenser and tenser.
Billy.
And
Billy calls in.
Billy calls. Yeah.
I mean, what a
Everett,
voice!
Yeah.
Well, Everett is the radio host.
Billy calls Everett. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a combination of these long takes where it's funny because it's very, very dialogue heavy, the whole movie. There's
But it's
like,
never boring. I think.
no,
I think
that as well,
dialogue
but-
is great.
it is, but also like it's interesting because the script must be like, I don't know how many pages long because there's so much dialogue, but it's still visually interesting outside of the shots where they film the dialogue, because obviously the dialogue is not filmed very interestingly. I don't know, is that a word? But then they cut in between, and they have those like tracking shots that sort of lead you through the different locations, and that's just incredibly well done.
Well, talking about the dialogue seeming more interesting, I think dialogue does seem more interesting if you don't just cut from one person to the next.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they do it in films, because I just know you just know it's a film. But if you have like this long shot of just two people talking, it seems more like real life or theater, and it just becomes instantly more interesting for me, I think. And talking about visuals, what I absolutely loved about those films are the visuals and how they're represented in the 1950s, and it just made you feel like you are like really in like an old episode of the Twilight Zone or something like that, because I hated when they like this 80s and 50s and blah 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 nostalgia, and then the people there just look like hipsters from 2010 wearing those kind of clothes, but they did perfectly, just the glasses that they wear and how they wear their hair, and it's not very flattering. Not at all. They just look like they did back then, because the main character is supposed to be quite young, and she seems just like a young high school girl with like a big glasses. She's not supposed to be this extremely hot girl who's,
how dare you,
kind of just interesting because of that. No, the thing is, she seems like just, well, a young girl, and the way she wears her clothes and the way she looks and the way she talks just makes her seem like she's a girl from the 1950s and not somebody who just put on a costume.
I thought she was very impressive.
Extremely, yeah.
Yeah.
And just her accent never seemed fake, because it's supposed to be set in like New Mexico, so they got quite a southern accent.
Quite close to the southern border.
Fake. Yeah.
Right. And then sort of the movie, I think it's only like a 90-minute film.
Including credits and everything.
Yeah.
So.
But then it's sort of about, as you said, it's sort of about figuring out what that sound is, and then people are calling in, and then they sort of they sort of give their insight as to what they know about the sound. And another thing that Stuckman mentioned, which I genuinely also thought, was that the visuals, I mean, I agree with you that some of the shots are great, but I think the whole, like, in terms of the overall look of the film, I thought this was not a very good looking film. I gotta be honest with you. Like, it's just going to sound like I'm copying Stuckman's review, but the color grading, like, is all over the place. I mean,
but I think it's you have kind of this feeling like it is still the TV. I think, I don't know if that's on purpose, but kind of the edges of the shots have this weird glare at times.
Yeah,
which I thought was on purpose, but
I think
just weird
some of the
grading.
shots are better than the others, and sort of I know what you're saying, but I still feel like some of the shots that maybe they didn't have enough time or something to fix it in post or whatever. But it's just
maybe. But I guess it being not as polished make it, well, for me it made it seem more like it's like one of those old TV shows, but you're kind of in the shot pretty much.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
The one thing that I wasn't a huge fan of was the ending and pretty much the very last shot, which I don't want to spoil, but it kind of confused me, not because I thought, all right, this is probably what happened, but then there's something on the ground and made me think like, did that happen or did that happen? I don't want to say because it's pretty much
interesting.
The climax of the film. Maybe we'll talk about it after we stopped recording, but
yeah, I didn't have any like, for me it was pretty straightforward. No, he just
it's
that
hard
sort
to
of
talk
thing.
about it,
That
right?
sort of thing that it just got left behind. No,
that's not the point. The point is there's something else on the ground and make me think. I can't say it. I can't say it without spoiling everything, so I won't.
Okay.
But another great thing about the film is the score. Great.
It was good.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Right kind of level of tension, and I think it doesn't become much of a horror film later on, but like in the first, I thought.
You think it's a horror film in the beginning?
Yeah.
Wow.
When she's on a switchboard and she's not sure, and then she hears the sound, and then stuff doesn't work. I was like, all right, something weird might happen, and weird things do happen, but not as I expected. And what I loved is that it wasn't a fucking jump scare. There are no jump scares in this. So,
well, I didn't watch it as a horror film. I didn't even expect any scares.
Not?
No.
When I looked it up, it was like horror, sci-fi, mystery, thriller, like 10 freaking genres. But
well, it's interesting because this is another one of those films. Like I'm going to say 6 months ago, or I don't know, whenever this premiered, I had heard about it. And I had heard about the movie having very, very impressive long takes. And I heard someone or read someone talk about it and sort of, raving about it and saying that it's something to look out for once it's released widely. So I put it on the watch list, I'm like, that sounds interesting. And then I just completely forgot to sort of keep track of the film. And then all of a sudden it's just released on Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
And I was like, this movie sounds so familiar. And then now it's on the movie network site that we both use, Letterboxd. It's now the most popular film.
Yeah, that's how I got the idea to watch it.
Yeah.
So
and it's so other movies I'm anticipating, and then obviously they're pushed back and they're going to be released in cinemas later on, and this one just got dropped on Amazon one day, which is cool. I mean, sure. I mean, this is not like a blockbuster that maybe I don't think this movie would be shown in theaters in Vienna.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm not sure how well it would have performed in theaters.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah,
I think there's definitely an audience for that, but I don't think it's big enough.
Yeah, it's more of a home viewing audience. Yeah. No, it's probably the smart thing to do to release it there, and it's obviously working because now obviously the movie communities are talking about it.
Yeah.
But did you love it? Now is it like
I really liked it. I
Okay.
really, really liked it.
Yeah.
How about you?
Like I was like in terms, like, I'm just gonna be. It's like a 7 out of 10, something like that.
All right.
I
It
wasn't
was like an 8.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I thought it was I'm a fan of dialogue heavy films. And that was sort of, that ticked boxes for me. And the story itself is just, or maybe I should say, had it gone for a different ending or a different reveal of what is going on, I would have preferred that. Now it's just like, it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah. It's like,
Yeah, I get it. What you mean? Yeah, I get it. But what I thought was just good is just the feeling that the film gave you. It just aimed for a very specific. What's the word I'm looking for? Jesus.
tell me the word and I'll tell you what it is.
Like feeling or like a very it's aimed for a very specific mood to set you in, and it
A tone?
did it perfectly. Perfect. Yeah, a tone. It created this tone, and the music and just the visuals.
Or a vibe?
Yeah.
It's gonna keep going with word, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what scene I absolutely
You have
loved
the
was...
dictionary open.
I do, yeah. I do. Hold on. Let me give you some other words. Just Googling synonyms. The scene in the car where they drive towards the forest at the end.
I knew that this was going to happen. I knew because he doesn't take it, and he's like, I knew it's going to be on the tape, and I knew this was going to happen.
Oh, interesting. I thought it was a very, very smart thing that he didn't take the piece of paper. I'd not thought about it. I didn't think he'd started recording when she said those words. But the scene I'm talking about then. Whatever. I love that scene. But then at the end, it's like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on now. Or I do know what's going on, but it just didn't. I was hoping for something else, to be honest.
Yeah.
And have you seen the Nicolas Cage classic? Dare I might say?
Space.
No. Knowing.
No, I didn't. I haven't seen it. No. What's that?
If you're a fan of Knowing, then I think you might enjoy The Fast of Night. I saw Knowing in theaters, and it scared the shit out of me back then.
Is it a new film?
No. I saw this when it came out. I think it came out in like 2009.
All right. Well,
let's look it up. First
like
thing we're
a
looking
horror
up.
film?
It is. Well, yeah.
You watched a horror film in 2009?
Yeah, it's fucking.
I'm impressed.
Well, because it was Nick Cage. It was Nick Cage. That's all I needed.
You were a Nick Cage fan even back then.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I mean,
it's like 11 years ago, dude.
I know. I've been a fan of his for like ever since I can think.
Good for you. The Knowing.
No, the the National Treasure films, they came out before that, and I loved them.
Okay, fair.
That made me want to watch this. But
it's on Prime.
Yeah, I rewatched this like a couple of months ago, and because I hadn't seen it since the theaters, and people are gonna hate this film and whatever, but it's just I wanted to talk about it now, or I wanted to mention it real quick because there's some similarities here, and especially towards the end. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just
with a spoiler for me, dude.
For Knowing.
Yeah.
No. No. Genuinely, that's not a spoiler. I'm just talking about the imagery at the end. There's some. It just reminded me of that, but that's not a spoiler. It really isn't. And you're not gonna love Knowing. I would even spoil that movie for you. You're not gonna love that film.
Yeah, I'm not a big Nick Cage fan.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, check it out. The Fast of Night. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. It's really good.
If you want to be cool and want to talk about the new film that is in.
With everybody, because we are everybody.
Well, no, but Letterboxd is a good sort of.
Yeah, it's a good indicator. Of
it's a good indicator.
Trending.
Thank you. See, I couldn't come up with the word there, and you were there straight away. Thank you.
I know. We
compliment each other. We even finish each other's sandwiches. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
The chemistry. The chemistry is unreal today. Where's that joke from? We finish each other's sandwiches. Is that from How I Met Your Mother? It's the one thing I think of with sandwiches where they smoke joints and eat or baked berries.
That's I think like an homage to Twin Peaks.
Which one now? What now?
Where they eat sandwiches and
is it
supposed to be drugs? Yeah, because in an episode, one of the brother of one of the characters comes back from France and he's like, I got these amazing sandwiches, and they just start digging into the sandwiches and they're just so happy and start laughing. And it's apparently also like supposed to be a synonym for drugs. So
Gotcha. And on that note,
did you see anything else this week?
No. I watched 5 episodes. Just some old stuff. I rewatched Moneyball.
Oh, right.
Dude,
Yeah.
It was so funny. I was like, not the film. I love the film, but I saw like it came up in my YouTube recommendations, just the scene from it, and I was like, I want to watch that again. And I genuinely thought like I saw this one like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
And then I looked it up on Letterboxd again, which is promoting Letterboxd, and you sort of log when you watch the films. So I looked up when I last saw Moneyball. I saw it 3.5 years ago.
Yeah,
3.5 years ago.
So many films, yeah.
It's like there's no way that's right, but yeah, I love that film. We talked about it on the Brad Pitt special, and
listen to episode 4 if you want to know more about it.
4, yeah. But that's there's nothing really to talk about here, and I know you didn't love that movie.
It was alright. I'm not sure. It didn't make my top 10 list of.
I'm not sure.
Brad Pitt. I gotta listen to episode 4 as well.
Yeah, you gotta listen to it. Yeah, it's just it's written by Aaron Sorkin, and it stars Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's all I need.
Yeah, I didn't watch that much this week either. I've watched Lovebirds, which was quite bad in my opinion.
That's it's written by the same people who did what was it called? Sick. The Big Sick?
Sick. I don't think so. It's with the same lead actor, but
it's written from the same people. Sure.
Is it also with?
I think it's
written by him.
Kumail and Emily Gordon. No.
Is it?
Maybe that's completely wrong. It is completely wrong. And forget everything I said.
So,
it's directed by the same guy. That was it.
All right.
And it stars the same guy.
Yeah, but it's not good. It's just it seems like a film that's like a product of its time, as in just the humor and how it looks, and just. I don't think it's a timeless comedy, not at all. I think it's, especially the ending is very weak, and I don't know, most jokes are quite flat. Which is surprising because I love the comedy in The Big Sick, and I really love, I forget his name. Kumail Nanjiani. Yeah. But yeah.
I was surprised, I didn't see it, but I was surprised how many people didn't like it. And how bad the movie's supposed to be.
Fair criticism.
Yeah.
And I watched something else, which I would love to talk about for a second, is Chappie. I know it's a film that bombed at the box office, and it's not that
Chappie. Yeah,
it's not that popular as like other films from Blomkamp.
Yep.
Blomkamp.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, District 9 or Elysium or something else, but I thought it was fucking great.
Really?
I thought it was great.
I think you're the first person to ever say that ever.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't seen
it. Just well, if you don't know what it's like about a robot that develops artificial intelligence and becomes self-aware. And at the beginning, it's more like a child. And I think it's a very sweet dynamic of how they kind of treat this robot and how he is and how he starts to learn about the world. But what I didn't like, which is, it's like a week 8, but it's, well, what I gave it is an 8. Because it's a week 8 because towards the end, it does a lot of things that other Blomkamp films did, especially District 9, which...
Well, don't say too much.
Yeah, no, I don't want to say too much, but just it feels very similar.
Okay.
But the cool thing is that the Antwoord act in this film, and if you don't know the Antwoord...
What? Who's that?
It's a South African band.
Right.
With Ninja and Yolandi, and they kind of play themselves with the same names. And it's a very, like a rap anti-establishment, very harsh sounds. But I listened to this band a bit back in the day when my brother showed it to me because it's just they have very weird and funny sounds. Like, I think everybody knows, like, I am a butterfly, I need a protection, Nemo samurai.
Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that, yeah.
If you fucking listen to the song, you'll know it. And it's so freaking weird. Or,
that's why
I think you're freaky, but I like you a lot. It's also a great song. And watch their like music videos. It's weird. It's so freaking weird. And the two of them seem so weird in real life. And they play such weird characters in the film.
So what you're saying is the film is bad, but you loved it because they made an appearance?
No. I think their appearance was pretty cool. No, I didn't like the ending.
Gotcha. It's weird because...
It's got, very, very prominent actors like Hugh Jackman and Dev Patel and Sigourney Weaver.
I was going to say with Hugh Jackman, that's the thing, because he did Real Steel.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's weird
Also
how...
a robot, yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
But this one was better, way better than Real Steel.
I love Real
didn't
Steel,
like
though.
I didn't like it at all.
Oh, here we go. I don't know where we're going. Let's wrap this
Save
up.
it for another episode,
Yeah. No,
Alright.
but yeah, I haven't seen Chappie yet, and now, you're the first positive voice I heard about it.
Yeah, do check it out if you haven't watched it.
Is that available like on Amazon or something?
It's now on Netflix, and I'm
It's on
very
Netflix.
glad it's on there because I always want to watch it because I love District 9 and
Sure.
Elysium because I really like Blomkamp, and I thought it looks like a real cool film, and I want to buy it on Blu-ray to finally see it. And then
Yeah.
here we are.
You didn't need to.
Yeah, but I might now anyway.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, we're kind of worried that we didn't have enough to talk about in this episode, and
Yeah, it's funny because obviously this is the first one where we have the same pick, and that
Yeah.
sort of leads to more discussion.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's always better if we've both seen the film. We had that like with Invisible Man and stuff where we could both talk about.
Yeah, sure.
But this is the first time where we have the same pick, which is exciting. And you mentioned to me before that you thought about like titles because I have my title. Let's see if
Really?
this is the same one. Yeah,
Dude,
I would go with frequent. It's already wrong. Foreign frequencies.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Thank
I
you.
like nostalgic nightmares, but nightmares maybe a bit too much.
Sure, it sounds like a Del Toro film.
Yeah, I guess, but it's like a nostalgic trip to like the old shows.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, absolutely fair.
Yeah, like
Well,
minimal mysteries. Because it's-
Minimal mysteries. I like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a mystery.
Well, it is to kind of figure out what's going. Oh well, all right. Now if you know what it is from like,
Yeah.
but it's like a mystery for them, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Well,
Like
whoever's listening to
Homage
this,
horrors.
well, that's the thing. That's not the same. You don't pronounce the H the same, so it's not
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
alliteration. What are we talking about now? Anyway, you'll see the title when you're listening to this episode. Check out the cover
now
art.
you know our process.
Yeah, you do. Check out the cover art on YouTube or on Twitter. And please, if anyone hasn't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please just do that. And, you'll get notified once we get a new episode up on there as well. You don't need to check your podcast app. Just check your subscriptions. You see what we're talking about, what we're like the topics we talk about. And, please leave a rating if you haven't, or as I said, just subscribe to the YouTube channel, interact with us on Twitter at Best Thing Radio, and I'll leave you to the outro. Leave you to the outro. It's not even a sentence. The final words are yours.
I know. Yeah. It's stage fright, dude. An outro. What's the best outro that we haven't had?
Well, you got to sort of bring it back to obviously the intro was switched. Like it's got to be like the other way around now. You got to.
All right,
the outro's got to be
that's
weird as
true.
well.
Well, no, you got to do the outro. Like, cook something good.
Cook something.
Like, what's like your last sentence? that
That's
you
true.
wanna say?
That's true. Well, it's usually bye.
All right, that was
we'll
perfect.
see. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.